Picture this. The year is 1348. You're standing in the main square of Nuremberg. It's mid-morning and the entire city has stopped. Around you, 5,000 people are pressing forward. Children sitting on their fathers' shoulders. Merchants abandoning their stalls. Nobles watching from balconies draped in silk. Everyone's here for the same reason. The spectacle is about to begin. You can't move. The crowd is too thick. The smell of unwashed bodies mixes with something else. Fear, excitement, something darker you don't want to name. This wasn't hidden. This wasn't secret. This was entertainment, and what you're about to witness will stay with you forever. The door of the town hall opens. A woman is let out. Her name is Margarethe. She's 19 years old. According to town records, she was convicted of witchcraft 3 days ago. But that's not what makes this different. Think about what happens in every town square across medieval Europe almost daily. Public executions, hangings, burnings. You've seen them before. They're quick, brutal, over in minutes. This won't be quick. Here's what the City Chronicle of Nuremberg recorded for March 14, 1348. A document that was locked in church archives for 600 years. A document that modern historians discovered only in 1987. The spectacle lasted from the ringing of the morning bell until the sun touched the western walls. 8 hours. If you believe that the documented records of history's most terrifying practices must be remembered, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support unearths more accounts from the darkest corners of the human story. You're watching something that wasn't improvised. This wasn't mob violence. This was planned. Medieval cities across Europe developed what they called graduated punishments. The term appears in administrative documents from Paris, London, Cologne, Venice, Barcelona. Here's what nobody teaches in history class. These weren't just executions. They were theatrical productions, with stages, with acts, with intermissions. The woman standing before you now, Margarethe, is about to experience what chroniclers called the 7 revelations. 7 distinct stages of torture, each one designed to extract a specific form of suffering. Each one performed publicly. Each one documented by notaries who recorded her reactions for legal records. The first revelation begins. 2 men approach carrying an iron frame. It looks almost like a door. They lay it flat on the wooden platform that's been constructed in the square's center. Margarethe is stripped to her undergarments. The crowd presses closer. She's laid on the frame. Iron bands are secured around her wrists, ankles, waist, neck, forehead. 7 points of restraint. You hear the metal click into place. The frame is raised vertical. Now everyone can see. Here's what makes this especially sinister. The city of Nuremberg had built a permanent platform in the main square specifically for this purpose. Archaeological excavations in 2003 found the stone foundations. The platform was 12 feet high, with iron hooks embedded in the wood, with drainage channels carved into the stone below. This wasn't temporary. This was infrastructure. Think about what that means. The city government commissioned this. Architects designed it. Stonemasons built it. Carpenters maintained it. The systematic bureaucratization of horror. The second revelation begins after what the Chronicle describes as the time it takes to pray 5 Our Fathers. Approximately 15 minutes. A man approaches carrying an iron rod that's been heated in a brazier until it glows orange. You can feel the heat from 20 feet away. The executioner, a man named Hans Schmidt, according to municipal employment records, holds up the rod so everyone can see. Then he applies it to the sole of Margarethe's left foot. The scream is unlike anything you've heard before. It's not human. It's something being torn from a body that wasn't designed to make that sound. The smell hits you. Burning flesh, sweet and nauseating. Children in the crowd are crying, but nobody leaves. Here's what the notary recorded. The accused did cry out to God and all saints. The accused did plead for mercy. The accused did confess again to her crimes. But here's what should terrify you. They already had her confession. She'd confessed 3 days ago during the trial. This isn't about extracting information. This is about the spectacle itself. The third revelation involves water, but not the way you think. A funnel is placed in Margarethy's mouth. It's held open with an iron device called a mouth pair. Historical examples survive in the torture museums of Rothenburg and Prague. Water is poured, slowly, continuously. You watch her abdomen distend. The iron bands around her waist cut into swelling flesh. According to the Chronicle, 3 buckets were administered over the course of 1 hour. Approximately 6 gallons of water, forced into a human stomach. Think about the precision of that cruelty. They measured it. They timed it. They recorded it. The fourth revelation is called the questioning. An official approaches. He's wearing the robes of a city magistrate. He reads from a scroll. Do you renounce your pact with Satan? Margaretha can barely speak. Her voice is a whisper, but she answers, yes. Do you confess your corrupting of the town's wells? Yes. Do you name your accomplices? She hesitates. The executioner holds up the glowing rod. Yes, Anna, and Maria, and Elizabeth. 3 more names. 3 more women. According to subsequent trial records held in the Nuremberg City Archives, all 3 were arrested within 24 hours. Here's what haunts me about this moment. Those 3 women had been Margaretha's friends. They'd been investigated and cleared. But now, after 8 hours of systematic torture, Margaretha gives them up. Not for truth, for mercy that won't come. The 5th revelation involves what medieval documents call the stretching. The iron frame Margaretha is secured to has a mechanism, a screw system. When turned, it extends the frame by small increments. You hear her joints pop, first the shoulders, then the hips, then the knees. The chronicler writes with clinical precision. The frame was extended by 12 turns of the wheel. The accused's height increased by the span of a hand, approximately 9 inches. Her screams have stopped. She's making a sound now that's worse. A continuous moan. Barely conscious, the crowd has gone quiet. The 6th revelation is called the humiliation. Margaretha's undergarments are removed completely. She hangs naked before 5,000 people. But here's where it gets darker. According to the Chronicle, citizens were encouraged to approach the platform, to examine her body, to look for the devil's marks that supposedly proved her guilt. Men and women from the crowd climb the platform. They poke at her with sticks. They look between her legs. They pull at her hair. The notary records 37 separate examinations over the course of 90 minutes. Think about what this does psychologically. It's not enough to torture her physically. They need to destroy her dignity, her humanity, her identity as a person. This is the genius of the system. It's not just killing, it's erasure. The 7th and final revelation is the execution itself. But after 7 hours of systematic torture, death is almost a formality. Margaretha is taken down from the frame. She can't stand. Her legs are broken from the stretching. She's carried to a stake that's been erected at the platform center. She's tied to it. The executioner's assistant stacks wood around her feet. The fire is lit. According to multiple eyewitness accounts preserved in church records, Margaretha was still alive when the flames reached her. But she didn't scream. She couldn't scream. Her voice was gone. The Chronicle records. The fire consumed the accused over the space of 1/4 hour. The body was reduced to ash. The ash was scattered in the river. 15 minutes. After 8 hours of torture, death took 15 minutes. Here's what nobody expected. This wasn't rare. This wasn't unusual. Between 1348 and 1351, during the Black Death Plague years, The city of Nuremberg alone conducted 96 graduated punishment spectacles. We know this because the municipal execution records survive. 96 people tortured publicly over 3 years, and Nuremberg wasn't special. Similar records exist from Strasbourg, 127 spectacles, Paris 203, Cologne 156, Venice 89. This was policy E9 across Europe for centuries. Think about the infrastructure this required. Every city needed platforms, torture devices, executioners, notaries, guards, physicians who monitored the victims to ensure they didn't die too quickly. In Paris, the position of Master of the Question was a salaried city employee. The year 1357 municipal budget shows payment of 40 livres per year plus housing. They paid someone to do this, full-time. Here's what makes this especially disturbing. We have the training manuals. In 2012, historians discovered a document in the Barcelona city archives called Ordo Tormentorum, the Order of Tormentorum. It's 47 pages, written in Latin, dated 1374. It's an instruction manual for executioners, teaching the optimal sequence of torture techniques to maximize suffering while preventing premature death. It includes illustrations, diagrams showing proper restraint positions, timing recommendations, medical advice on monitoring vital signs. One section is titled Maintaining the Spectacle. It advises executioners to pause between tortures, to allow the crowd to react, to create dramatic tension. This wasn't madness. This was theater, systematic, bureaucratic, institutionalized horror. But here's the question nobody asks. Why? Why the spectacle? Why the public display? Why the elaborate torture instead of quick execution? The answer is in another document. A letter from King Philip IV of France to the mayor of Paris, dated 1314. The punishment of heretics and criminals must be visible to all. For it is through witnessing suffering that the people learn obedience. A death unseen teaches nothing, but a death that fills the squares and empties the taverns reminds every soul of the cost of transgression. It was about control, not of the victim, of you. The person watching. Every scream was a reminder. Every broken body was a lesson. Every public torture was a sermon delivered in blood and fire. The spectacle wasn't the punishment. The spectacle was the point. Think about the psychology of standing in that crowd. You're a peasant, maybe a craftsman, maybe a merchant. You watch Marguerite tortured for 8 hours for the crime of witchcraft. But what was her real crime? According to the trial records, she'd been seen talking to herself near a well during a plague that was killing half of Europe. That's it. That's the evidence. And now you're watching her broken on a frame, burned alive, erased. What do you do the next day? Do you talk to yourself? Do you question the authorities? Do you step out of line? No, you obey. This is what the spectacle teaches. Not justice, not morality, fear. Here's what happened to the 3 women Margarita named under torture. Anna was executed 2 weeks later. Same 7 revelations, same platform. Her spectacle attracted an estimated 7,000 people according to the Chronicle. Maria died in prison before her trial. The official cause was listed as fever, but the prison physician's notes discovered in 1991 describe injuries consistent with pre-trial torture. Elizabeth disappeared from records entirely. No trial, no execution, no burial. She simply vanishes from history. Medieval historian Dr. Sarah Mitchell at Cambridge, who studied these spectacles for 20 years, believes Elizabeth may have committed suicide. It was the only escape available, her 2018 paper argues. Death by your own hand versus 8 hours on the platform. The spectacles continued for centuries. The last documented graduated punishment in Western Europe was in Geneva, Switzerland, in 1652. A woman named Catherine Rapond was tortured publicly for 11 hours before being burned alive. But here's what should keep you awake at night. The platforms were dismantled, The torture devices were melted down or locked away in museums. The executioners found other work, but the logic remained. The idea that public suffering teaches obedience, that visible punishment controls invisible populations, that spectacle is power. That logic didn't die, it just evolved. When you see photographs of public executions in other parts of the world today, when you read about torture being used not for information, but for terror, when you witness suffering being broadcast for political purposes, it's the same machine, the same 7 revelations, the same logic, just different platforms. Here's what the Nuremberg Chronicle says on the final page about the spectacles. These acts were necessary for the preservation of godly order and the protection of Christian souls. Let no man question the wisdom of such measures, for they are ordained by law and blessed by Holy Mother Church. It was blessed. It was legal. It was considered moral. The question isn't whether medieval people were cruel. The question is, what other systems exist today that we consider necessary, legal, and moral, that history will look back on with the same horror? The platforms of Nuremberg are gone, but the foundations remain. Buried under modern streets, forgotten but not erased. Archaeological teams still find them. Stone platforms with drainage channels. Iron hooks still embedded in medieval wood. And sometimes, in the channels they find scratches. Messages carved by fingernails, names, prayers, last words. In 2003, during excavations beneath what is now a parking lot, they found one that stopped the entire dig for 3 days. 7 words, in Latin, carved into stone. Deus scit verum. I am not what you say. God knows the truth. No name, no date. Just a testimony carved by someone who knew they'd be erased. Someone who needed to leave proof that they existed, that they were human, that the spectacle was a lie. If this exposed something you've never heard before, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're going to keep uncovering the history they tried to erase. Drop a comment with your thoughts and I'll see you in the next investigation. The 7 revelations of medieval Europe lasted for centuries. The evidence was destroyed. The records were locked away. The platforms were dismantled. But the victims left scratches in stone. And 700 years later, we're finally reading them.